If we don't understand that process, if we don't understand its function, the ebbs and flows, if we don't understand where it's coming from, why it's there, what its value is, what its purpose is, then we tend to just judge ourselves as got it, lost it, got it, lost it, got it, lost it, right? Or I'm so happy right now and I did something stupid. I'm so happy right now and I did something wrong. But if you understand the process, it's actually a very natural part of integrating all that you've learned. Everything in the universe explodes and then implodes, expands and then coalesces back into nothingness. And very similarly, since we are inseparable from this universe, since we are inseparable from this existence, this cosmic, glorious celebration of infinity, we too experience those ebbs and flows, those expansions and implosions. So what is its purpose on a very human, spiritual level? What is its purpose? What is the purpose of having those peak experiences of expansion and flow and acceleration, and then suddenly, nothing seems to happen? Or you just don't feel as good. Or you wonder where that flow went because you were doing everything right. You were effortlessly riding the waves, and then suddenly it just stopped being there. So you start questioning yourself, perhaps. To this day, I experience those ebbs and flows. And my conclusion is that it is a natural part of the human's way of integrating all the new realizations that it gains on the spiritual path, all the new experiences that it gains. It needs to integrate that. And so those valley experiences, as I prefer to call them, rather than ups and downs, peaks and valleys, those valleys are integration periods. And when you recognize that you're hitting a valley experience, a valley period, as soon as you start recognizing that, you start calming down about it. You start to accept it. You start to see value in it and utilize it effectively rather than judge it or despise it or frustrate yourself about it. So you can just imagine this as an upward line that then dips in a little bit, plateaus, and then it goes up even further than the last peak, and then it dips a little bit again. But the third valley is higher than the first peak, if that makes sense. And I think you've noticed that. Like if you look back upon your life 2 years ago, you would rather have your valley experience today than your peak experience then. At least that's the case for me. And I'm assuming for some of you that's the case too. You wouldn't want to be yourself 2 years ago in your peak experience. Would you really want to go back there? Even if you are experiencing sort of a hibernation period at present, maybe you are in the valley moment right now, even then, would you really want to go back 2 years to your peak experience then? Do you really want to be that person again? Would you really want to be at that stage again? Most likely not, I'm assuming. So this just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. But why doesn't it just go straight up, right? Eager human beings as we are, prone to self-judgment so easily. Why doesn't it just go straight up? Why does it have to make that little dip? I don't want to make that little dip. Let me transcend that little dip. Let me somehow figure out a way to not have that little dip. But again, if you look at anything in nature, anything expands and comes back into its source. And so when you have those peak experiences, they are usually the expansive experiences. They're usually the expansive period of your self-realization. They are the further awakening into more of yourself, more of your truth, more of your essence, more of your authentic self, more of your oneness self, more of your expression itself, your individual self, whatever it may be. There's many types of peak experiences. They can be very inward, or they can be very outward. They can be very peaceful, or they can be very ecstatic and blissful. You feel like dancing, you feel like expressing, you feel like hugging everyone you meet. There's many kinds of peak experiences, depending on exactly what it is that is activated in you in that moment. However, it seems like the natural rhythm of life is to also have that integration period. So now you've expanded into a new vision, into a new view of yourself, a new understanding. And then at some point, it's like the body-mind wants to catch up with that. It wants to be able to integrate that, channel that more properly. It wants to be able to have its body aligned, its synapses, or how do you call these things in your brain? Rewired it wants to catch up with your realization. It doesn't just want you to sort of like go into a spirit level where it cannot come with you. It wants to integrate that here. So you go to heaven, and then your body, mind, and your agreement to be human will bring you back down, in a sense, will bring you back down so that that can be anchored, so that can be rewired on this level, so that you can bring more and more of your expansion into everyday life, into relationships, into manifestation, into worldly affairs, into your business, into whatever it is. So in those valley experiences, just recognize that you are having one. Just recognize that suddenly this expansive flow seemed to stop or seemed to disappear from view. And first thing to do is to love yourself for that, to appreciate yourself for that, to appreciate the mechanism that entails, the reason why it's there, which is to integrate, to embody the expansive peak experiences that you've had just before that.